All right, so we're gonna do a Selena Gomez look on Janessa. Selena always has nice full brows, so the first thing I did is I really filled in her brows, which you'll be able to see from her before picture. It was really for my new brow video, so check that out. I got a lot of requests for a video just about brows, so that's on there. But now, I do work with Selena quite a bit, so I really know her face. And so I'm really just going to create kind of the look that we do so often. It's kind of signature her. Lots of liner around the eyes, defined but not heavy with the eyeshadow. In her videos, sometimes she'll go heavy. And then just a really pretty glowy skin. And that's it. And I'm going to layer creams and powders together on her eyes, multiple different ones, because that's what we do whenever we do it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a cream to highlight her lid. I'm just using a matte beige. And I know y'all are sick of me always talking about using a matte beige, but you know, laying down that canvas, anything I put on top of it's really gonna pop. Just laying it down and blending it out really, really well. Not going above that crease we just saw when she looked down. Her crease starts there. Now I'm going to go back over it with first a matte white, pressing it into it because I want opacity. Then I'm going to go back over that with a shimmery gold. Once again, trying to keep it right within that line where that first crease starts. And I definitely want her brow bone to look barely highlighted. Because you'll notice with Selena, she has not a lot of space. And if you over highlight that area, it closes it in and brings it too far forward. So I'm going to use a matte vanilla just right underneath that brow bone. So it's not too pale, but we still get a little bit of highlighting. Plus, by doing it, really makes that brow look more refined. And it also gives us something to blend up into. Now, I will say that Janessa is not as dark skin toned as Selena is. So I would go with kind of like a really warm matte mid-tone. Kind of has a bit of a hue of a caramel to it. But since Janessa is not that dark, I've got to go with a basic taupe so that it matches her skin tone correctly. It is going to have a lot of warmth to it. It's not as dark taupey as the other times because I want it to have a lot of warmth. But if I went with the true color that I would use on Selena, it would be too orange on Janessa. So we're starting to define that crease using my number 11 brush. Starting to get that shape. To just give you an idea of how different this is, many, many times I will use a matte taupe, that color, or a matte ochre. This is kind of like a happy medium between the two, what I'm using on her. It's golden, but it's not as ochre as that. It's not as taupe as that. But to also kind of give you a reference, of the difference. I would use something more like that on Selena because of her skin tone. It has a lot more orange and warmth to it. So making sure to get that crease started. Making sure to blend our midtone up into our brow. We don't want that brow sitting up there by itself. Taking our number 28 blending brush, blending it out. Now I want to get some mid-tone on the outer edge of the lid to kind of do what I call closing in the outer corner. So just patting it on, blending it out. Patting it on, blending it out. All right, I've got my mid-tone on, and I want to start to see what's happening. So I'm going to put my first layer of mascara on. Now, Janessa just permed her lashes, so there I've already got quite a bit of curl to them. And she naturally has quite a bit of curl as well, so I don't have to curl. And you can see how it's already starting to take shape. I'm sure you can tell, and I always say this, by the fact that I just put the mascara on, what a difference it makes. You can start to see what's going to happening, how much definition you need with your shadows, so forth and so on. Now, I know we're going to line. What's different about lining for this look is we're just going to line the inside wet tissue top and bottom, which is what we do a lot with Selena. So that it looks fresh, but you get the definition. So on the top lid, I'm going to take a cream. It's a coppery cream. And I'm going to start to lay it on, going across the top of the lid, almost like a liner, but really smudging it out, and then starting to lift it up. I like to start with a cream because the layering really helps create definition without looking heavy and overdone. Because she's still young and youthful, and I think that you need to play that up. But let's face it, our girl loves a little makeup. Close for me. You can just take your finger and blend it in. layering the cream till I get the intensity that I want. And you can see how that cream creates a nice amount of color, but it still looks kind of fresh and not overdone. Okay, then we're going to go back over that with just a tiny bit of powder. We don't need a lot, but it always helps set it a little bit. Once again, using a coppery shade. I'm not going to go too dark because I don't want it to be a lot darker than it already is. I just want to be able to blend and set it a little bit more. Blending it out. I'm using my number 30 brush to lay that little bit of coppery powder on top. Open. Okay. Now we're just going to make sure we brush off anything, which we really didn't drip anything because we used hardly any powder. But just kind of cleaning that up, making it perfect. Now, we're going to take a little bit of our mid-tone, and we're going to go just right along the bottom lash line. Look up for me. Keeping it right at the base. Number 13 brush, because it's pointed, tapered to a point, so it won't give us a line. I'm keeping it very clean of color, so I just want just the ever slightest bit of color on there. So I'm being really careful about how much color I'm putting on my brush, because I want to keep this really tight. And you can see how that starts to create definition. Just in the slightest bit. Look up. A little bit more. Because this is going to be the majority of our definition in the bottom lash line until we line. Then I'm really, literally just taking the residue of what's left on my brush of that cream, just kind of barely smudging it into that lower lash line. So it gives just a hint of color. Using the very tip of the brush.
So you used 3 brushes when you did it?
I used 4 brushes.
4.
I used
I think the tapered one and
5.
a fluffier one.
Okay, I used a 22 for the highlight, a 11 for the mid-tone on top, a 13 for the mid-tone on the bottom. For the cream, I used another 22 because
So
you can't use the light in the dark.
Did you use a couple different ones just for the bottom line?
Yes, I did this one mainly and then used this one for what was left on there, so 2, yeah. Look up. Let it out real well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put some bottom mascara on. Look up for me. Now, Selena usually likes for her eyes to be a little more catted out. So I'm going to do just a few individual eyelashes. in the outer corner of the eyes to create that effect. And then when I say individual, I mean literally individual. They're single strands. Okay. I'm just going to put some in the outer corners. Laying it down, running the glue along the lash, and laying the lash back down on the lash. The main thing with these single eyelashes is you've got to make sure they don't get twisted. Now the trick to doing these to yourself would be to look down in a mirror. Lay a mirror on the table in front of you, and then it puts your lid in the right space to do it.
These eyelashes are fun.
Yeah, especially because no one will know you have them on.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to let those dry. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of her face. I'm going to contour and bronze her, and then blush her.
Is this bronzer right now?
Yeah, just a matte bronzer. Shaping your face. Taking a little bit of the roundness down. I mean, I like the roundness and the fullness, but taking it down a little bit.
You can take it down as much as you want. For a second, I thought it was blush, and I was like, wow. We're gonna
Wow, we're going to be really colorful if it was blush. Now I'm going to bronze the contour of the nose. Using my number 11 brush. And bronzer. Smile for me. Popping your cheeks with a little bit of blush for that really pretty glow that I always give Selena when I do her. It's kind of her signature, really. Her skin always looks amazing. She's got amazing skin. Blending it out. Now hopefully now my glue will be dry. And I'm going to do the finishing touches on her eyes. All right, so now the glue's dry. I'm going to go ahead and mascara her lashes into those little extensions that I just put, those little false ones I put on. Straight ahead. Look down. Straight. And now to do the signature Selena eyeliner, I'm going to take my black liner And I'm going to line the wet tissue. Look up or look down. No, look up here. The other down, the other up. And I'm going to line the inside wet tissue, top and bottom. Now look down. And there you have Signature Selena. Now, the reason we do it this way is because her lid space is quite short, and this way we get the darkness we want at the lash line. I would say the only thing you need to think about when lining the inside wet tissue, top and bottom, is that your eyes are big enough to take it. It's not going to close them in too much because it does slightly close them in. So the main things to think about when creating this look is, one, get definition but keep it fresh. I used cream shadows mainly because that gives you kind of like freshy glowiness. Very distinctive brows. Selena's brows are always very nicely groomed and perfect, and then just glowy, pretty skin. All right, so we're going to take Janessa away, take her hair down so that she really gets the Selena look with a long hair, and we'll be right back with the finished look. So you need to use a matte cream, a matte beige cream. I then took a matte white and went over that matte cream on the lid. Then I took a matte vanilla and did it on her brow bone so it wouldn't be over highlighted. Then I took a golden taupe matte midtone because I wanted it to be a little warmer, and then took a coppery cream. Then over that coppery cream I laid a little copper shadow, blending it out, black eyeliner to do the inside wet tissue everywhere, and then just a soft peachy glowy lip and soft peachy glowy cheek.